So I'm gonna be upfront and honest right here, right off the bat. I apologize if I can't string together a coherent sentence at the moment. I watched this Vancouver Canucks game on the treadmill while clocking out some 5-minute kilometers. Gotta go at a pace that's sustainable whilst also being able to divert my attention to the Sportsnet broadcast that was on my smartphone in front of me. So forgive me if this commentary is a little scatterbrained and all over the place, despite the fact that you can debate that most of the commentaries on this video are kind of like that. Either way, despite the fact that I'm out of breath, I just wanted to share some love to the Vancouver Canucks. Because on this day, November 20th, 2025, the Vancouver Canucks lost 4-2 against Mikko Rantanen and the dreaded Dallas Stars. Mikko Rantanen, by the way, has been absolutely terrorizing against the Canucks the past few years, both with Dallas and with the Colorado Avalanche. The guy just torches Vancouver anytime he plays them, and he did just that here tonight. The Canucks lose 4-2 at home, but I'm going to go out there and say that in this hockey contest, they were the better team. They deserved to win this game. In fact, the Money Puck Deserve to Win-O-meter says that Vancouver had a 80% chance of winning this hockey contest had it not been for the heroics of Jake Oettinger and Vancouver just not capitalizing on all of the opportunities that they had. This was one of those games where even though they technically should have won based off of the expected goals and the offensive chances, they didn't win, not because the opposing goalie was out of this world Carey Price level, but because they just didn't bury them. Kiefer Sherwood, one-time backdoor play with an open net, ends up fanning it and going wide. Connor Garland, in tight, just barely grazing it off the post. ELIAS Pettersson, Brock Besser, Jake DeBrusk. This team was getting chances like crazy on Oettinger, but by some miracle, due to the hockey gods' ultimate ruling up above, the Vancouver Canucks could not bury a puck in this game. And they scored twice. They could have had a lot more, according to all the models and fancy stuff here. Vancouver, according to Money Puck, they had 5.12 expected goals in this hockey game. And they only had 2 real ones. Jake DeBrusk was robbed, not by the pads or the gloves of Jake Oettinger, but by the ability of his own stick. This was one of these games where I think Vancouver Canucks fans cannot even be too upset. Yes, they could not capitalize on all of the opportunities that they had. Yes, they couldn't seal the deal and take the lead in the third period after putting all this momentum together to tie it. But at the same time, yes, there were so many positive things to take from this game. Like the fact that I'm going to sit out here and say that Elias Pettersson, that guy's back. He is in his zone once again after going through maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years of indecisiveness and not knowing what to do with the puck, unwilling to shoot, unwilling to pass, holding onto it for way too long. EP40 was in a pretty bad spell over the course of the past few years. And I think over the past few games, he's over a point per game in his last 10. Now I think it's fully time to say that EP40... okay, he's not on pace for 100 points, but he's almost there. Like, you talk about progression, you talk about him getting back to the player that he was. EP40 is like 85, 89% of the way there. He's almost fully back. And that's amazing, because now he's deciding to do things with the puck. He is not second-guessing. He is not taking that extra second to analyze his options. He just boom, 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 he knows. He gets the puck, he does something with it. He gets the puck, he shoots. He gets the puck, he passes. He makes a beautiful play. He ends up scoring a goal today that we didn't realize was actually his until they changed the goal announcement later on in the hockey contest. But on a night where Vancouver loses 4-2 against Dallas, they put together a result that I think Canucks fans can look at and say, yeah, that's a team that has a lot of skill and that is fun to watch. Now, despite the fact that they did have these opportunities and they did have all these expected goals and whatnot, they still couldn't capitalize on the power play as much as they probably should have. Yes, Pettersson did get a power play goal today, but Vancouver was ultimately 1 for 5 on the man advantage, which included over a minute and a half of 5-on-3 time. They were kind of passive in those moments, especially on the 5-on-3, but despite the fact that they may have been so, they still created chances. They're having such an easy time finding the open guy, just making the play, and then quick 1, 2, 3, boom, there's a scoring opportunity. Boom, Oettinger's forced to make a save. Boom, Kiefer Sherwood fans on it on a backdoor play where he has a wide open net to shoot at point blank and he goes behind the goal instead. Let's talk about all the goals that actually did go in. First goal of the night, Mavrik Bourque. We're not even going to talk about this goal. Like, Kevin Lankinen gets caught far out of his crease trying to make the first save, but then the puck squeaks through, it goes behind the net and back out to the far side post. Lankinen isn't in the net. It was one of these plays where I was like, okay, well, you tried to make the save, you did make the save initially, but you gotta cover it up, Lank. You can't let that one go through. A number of times he tried to make a save, and the puck squeaks underneath him, and somebody gets a second look at it. Filip Hronek had one of these moments in the third period where he barely stopped Jason Robertson from burying the puck on an open net after it escaped from Lankinen's grasp. So Lank the Tank's got to be a little bit more secure in covering those pucks that slip through the cracks there. It costs Vancouver the 1-0 goal 1 minute in. But just 2 minutes later, you have Linus Karlsson tying things up, hustling to score off of a neutral zone turnover. Karlsson picks the puck up at the red line, comes in with some space, it's a 2-on-1, and instead of using his passing option, Brock Boeser on the opposite side, he just fires it on Jake Oettinger, seals the deal, and ties the game up. 4 minutes later, you had Jason Robertson scoring his 12th of the season, another unassisted goal, as was the Linus Karlsson marker. This one, Robertson capitalizes on a Vancouver failed clearing attempt. It's Kiefer Sherwood who tries to play it up, but Robertson pickpockets him, steals the puck, fires it towards Lankinen and scores. That one was such a quick goal. I don't think anybody really expected that one to go. Not even Lankinen. It just kind of popped off the stick and it was in immediately. But it was 2-1 at this point in the game. Vancouver, about 7 minutes later, ties the game up 2-2. It's Elias Pettersson netting his 7th goal of the season, and yet another power play marker. Boeser goes over to Hughes, who goes over to Petey, drives towards the front of the goal. DeBrusk gets a touch, Kiefer Sherwood does too, and then Petey is there to bat it in. Loose puck, Oettinger doesn't cover up. At first we thought it was Jake DeBrusk with yet another goal, but no, it is determined it is Petey. We don't see any scoring in the second period, despite the fact that Vancouver had themselves a 5-on-3. They looked good, they just couldn't really shoot the puck as much as they probably should have. And then in the third, Vancouver continue with some more chances, but ultimately it's Dallas who gets the only 2 goals of the frame. Colin Blackwell finds himself on a breakaway to make it 3-2. Vancouver gets caught pinching a little bit too deep, and it is a breakaway move for Blackwell. He goes short side upstairs on Lankinen. Just a really ugly play for the Vancouver Canucks as they all get caught up in the Dallas Stars zone while Dallas breaks it back out. You got 4 Vancouver players back-checking like crazy trying to catch up, but they can't. And then when Vancouver was trying to tie it, with a minute to go, you have Mikko Rantanen coming up on Brock Boeser. Yeah, that's right. Brock is the guy back who's defending because the Canucks had 4 forwards on the ice at that time. Rantanen puts the spin cycle on Brock, quickly unloads a backhand towards Lankinen, and that is the 4-2 goal with a minute 31 to go in the third period. Unfortunately, the Canucks' defensive breakdowns, their odd mistakes here and there cost them some goals, but they were so effective at creating chances in this one that it's hard to feel like this was a bad game. I don't know, I'm actually really happy with that result based off of how they played against Dallas of all teams. Sure, you don't want to see them lose and you don't want to see them put points on the table because of these mistakes, but I'm a lot more optimistic off of this showing at least. So I gotta go take a shower. I've been sweating like crazy in this computer chair trying to talk into this microphone about the Canucks. I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Vancouver versus Dallas? Let me know in the comments all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.